Motion's made and seconded. Any comments? Take the roll, please.
Commissioner Hickman,
Here.
Commissioner Bullock,
Yeah.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Price,
Yes.
Chairperson May.
Yes. Okay, next we have approval of the minutes for the regular meeting of June 26, 2024.
I make a motion to approve the minutes for June 26, 2024.
Motion's made and seconded. Any comments or corrections on the minutes? Hearing none, we'll,
Talk a little fast. Is that what it is? That's all right.
would you take the roll, please?
Commissioner Bullock,
Yes.
Commissioner Price,
Yes.
Commissioner Martin,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Hickman,
Yes.
Commissioner Richard, approval of the minutes,
Yes.
and Chairperson May.
Yes. Next, we have public comment on non-agenda items only. If anyone is here who wishes to speak on an item that's not on our agenda tonight, now is the opportunity to come forward and do that. Being no one, we'll move on then to our business items, which is PPZ 24-0002. This is for 28680 Cherry Hill Road, consideration of a request for one sign variance for the construction of a new pole-mounted changeable message sign. Mr. Ortega, would you like to start us off, please?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. Good evening, everyone. Tonight, this variance, as noted, is for one particular location at 28680 Cherry Hill Road. So the site itself is approximately 56,000 square feet in area, and it is occupied by an existing multi-story building that's occupied by a religious institution. It's occupied by the Good Hope Lutheran Church. So the lot itself is actually zoned R1, one-family residential. And while religious institutions are permitted in the zoning, in the single-family zoning district, technically a religious institution is a non-residential use. One other existing aspect of the site is that the lot has currently one existing 24-square-foot manual changeable message sign on the Cherry Hill Road frontage. So the applicant is actually proposing to remove that existing sign and then install one 48-square-foot electronic changeable message pole sign in the same location. So one aspect of the zoning ordinance is the fact that non-residential uses are not permitted within zoning ordinance to have any type of signage. It's kind of a quirk of the zoning ordinance that it doesn't allow them to have signage when they're located in well, actually it doesn't allow them at all. Non-residential uses in a residential district to have any type of signage at all. So the request tonight by the applicant is they're requesting a variance from that section to allow this non-residential use in a residentially zoned district to install a pole-mounted changeable message sign. So when we look at our different standards for variance approval, the majority of the first four standards really relate to if our existing conditions and requirements would impair a proposed sign. And they're actually not applicable in this particular situation. For example, a variance is sometimes issued if when a compliant sign would be obstructing the vision of a motorist, but that's not applicable in this case because this proposed sign would not impair any vision. Also, a variance is sometimes issued if, for some reason, the visibility of a compliant sign was blocked by, say, for some reason of aspect of the site. But that's once again not applicable in this situation. The proposed sign would be visible. We look at site features. If the site features would once again block a proposed compliant sign, but there are no issues such as any trees that need removal or topography of the site. It's not applicable in this case. And then finally, we look sometimes at the scale, but this proposed sign is actually appropriate in scale with the site frontage. The two criteria that really are applicable in this situation is one, the first one is 0.5 at the bottom of my letter, when you look at the aesthetics. So we look at this situation to make sure that a variance shall not adversely impact the character or appearance of the neighborhood. Right now, as proposed, this sign is actually in compliance with all our zoning ordinances criteria for area, height, and for the operation of electronic changeable message centers for other non-residential uses. Other non-residential uses on Cherry Hill Road have signs of a similar height and area, and they're actually, aesthetically attractive and appropriate in scale with the other buildings and sites in the Cherry Hill Road corridor. Because the Cherry Hill Road corridor it's a mix of both residential, commercial, and public uses. So the characteristics of the area isn't strictly residential, even though this is zoned residential. This is a non-residential use in a mixed-use corridor. In addition, the Cherry Hill Road corridor is a major road corridor. The number of lanes, its size and scale are similar to our other major roads in the city. And that's another characteristic which makes it different and unique with regards to standards that are applied to a residentially zoned piece of property. And once again, and then the addition of the sign that is compliant with the non-residential standards. So we conclude, based on the characteristics of the Cherry Hill Road corridor, the size and scale of it as a major road corridor, and the fact that it's a mixed-use corridor, that the addition of a sign that is compliant with our non-residential standards of the ordinance, this sign would be compatible with the aesthetics of the Cherry Hill Road corridor. One other thing we look at too is whether the request for the variance is the minimal necessary. And as I noted, this sign is actually in complete compliance with the size, the area, and the operations of a standard non-residential sign. And if this site were zoned commercial, then the sign would just be permitted outright. It would be approved. It's just the fact that it's a non-residential use in a residential district that's impeding. So their only request is to allow this sign to be installed in the fact that it's a residential zone property in a mixed-use corridor. So they're not requesting a taller sign, they're not requesting a larger sign, they're just requesting something that is normally granted for other non-residential uses on the site. And finally, once again, to just reiterate, we look at the intent of the ordinance. The intent of these regulations is to make sure that we regulate signs in a manner that will minimize their harmful effects while permitting uses to effectively advertise and identify their uses. So once again, while this site is zoned residential, it is within a major road corridor that does not have a consistent residential character. The non-residential uses are located throughout the corridor and mixed in with other residences. So allowing for a compliant sign that would be permitted for any other business in this mixed-use corridor does seem to be in keeping with the intent of the zoning ordinance. So in the end, we would find that this proposed signage satisfies the requirement of the ordinance criteria and would recommend that the Zoning Board of Appeals grants this variance for the sign. I can take any questions at the appropriate time.
Okay. Right now, we'll move on. Does the applicant wish to make a presentation before we open the public hearing?
Hello, Mr. May. My name is Luke Carlson. I'm the pastor of Good Hope Lutheran Church, and I just want to begin by expressing we understand from Mario and your business development person that you are all volunteers, and we know something about volunteer organizations, and we appreciate what you do, and we're thankful that you're able to meet tonight. This is an important thing for our church to be able to communicate important events that we have within the life of our congregation, as well as we see it as a public safety. You would notice that in the last year, there have been 2 serious car accidents, drunk driving, right in front. One of them knocked over the DTE sign. We see this as a way to communicate to the community that drunk driving is not preferred, or just don't drink and drive. We see this as a sign that will be visible, but is open for a variety of things, not just for ourselves. So we're grateful for your consideration and for any concerns that you might have. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, then, let's open the public hearing at 6:42. Anyone wishes to speak on this item can come forward, identify yourself, and tell us how you feel about the issue.
Good evening, my name's Larry Supey, 31495 Dover, Garden City, Michigan. I'm a member of a Good Hope Lutheran Church, and I just found out about the problem we were having with a sign from Pastor Lou, and I looked at some of the information on the zoning ordinances, and I found that all the churches in Garden City are in residential 1. So I don't know if that was on purpose, that the churches are in RS1 districts, but that's the way it is. And I can't imagine a church not being able to have a sign, a correct sign in front of their church for different reasons of meetings and such like that. So just wanted the zoning board to be aware of, and maybe that might be brought up to the city council, that this might be a gray area that other churches may get into. There are some nice signs out there in front of churches, and there are some older churches that have older signs. So they may run into the same problem in the future if they want to upgrade their signs. A sign for our church is be very important. New things are happening with us, growing, and kindergarten is starting, so it's growing with that. We have possibility of other churches join in with us, not merging, but using part of our church for their services. And so there will be need for a sign to be able to put out when these other churches' services are going to be. And we have Alcoholics Anonymous meetings there, and it would be helpful for the community to know that they can come, people come there for the meetings. So I just thought I'd bring these little tidbits that I found out on the website and let you consider them. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that wishes to come up and speak on this issue? I'll ask one more time. Anyone else wish to come up and speak on the application? Okay, seeing no one, we'll move on then. Do we have any written communications on this?
No, we do not.
Okay. Then, at this time, we'll close the public hearing at 6:43 and open discussion with the board members. Does anyone have any comments or questions that they'd
I
like?
just wanted to know one thing. On that sign, it's going to be, electronic and all, so that means lighting at night and everything. Is that going to be like, I know the lights are going to be on during the day, for visibility, but at night, is that going to be controlled by, automatically controlled? So don't be so bright that the drivers.
Commissioner, that's an excellent question, and this is all new territory for us, but what I can tell you is that all of this sign is lit up internally with just a regular line, electric line. They are amazing at how efficient they use energy, and they do not make it so bright for the entire area. They make it easy to see, but they don't project light out into the community per se.
So it's going to be lit during the day also, though, right?
It's going to be lit during the day and night, yes.
Okay, but what I'm trying to say is it's going to be, like, in the daytime, you have to have the intensity higher because you got overbearing the light, regular light.
You know,
You don't have that, so
Right.
usually you have a system that dims it to a point where it doesn't.
It's automatic, and what it does, I would leave that to the engineers that designed this, but they assure me it will be quite able to be seen during the day as well as at night. And it does that automatically. It'll be on 24/7.
Mr. Ortega, is that part of our ordinance requirements?
Yes, it is. When I mentioned that the sign is in compliance with all our other ordinance standards, I did have a chance to speak with the sign contractor, just confirm, and actually all the recent signage that has been approved in similar scale on other uses have the same thing. They're equipped with a photo sensor, so that way the light levels, the illumination, it's candela per square meter, sometimes it's called a nit, but the light level is enough sufficient during the daytime, so it's visible, because it's got to compete with the sun. So it's bright enough for that. But then also it's automatically controlled whenever the exterior light levels get low, so that way it's not too harsh. So all the new ones are, it's a photo cell with an electronic dimmer. And so not only at nighttime, but for example, if there's a storm out, then the light level is automatically dimmed, so it doesn't cause any glare to passing motorists.
Just confirm, I know that was an issue here on Ford Road with the lumens and the lux coming off. You said you did speak with engineer, builder, whoever it may be, and they confirmed that it is automatic. It's not something they control to where they crank it up, because I know that was the issue with the cafe we had over here.
That's correct, yeah. Some of the previously approved signs did have something called mass dimmer. Some of the larger ones for, I don't want to say the official name, but sometimes some of the businesses have the older school signs where they do tend to crank up the luminosity, which is, we're trying to get them, ordinance enforcement is it's a consistent battle trying to get those older signs to comply with the standard, because the light levels are being listed in the ordinance, but this new sign will comply with all the requirements for that.
Any other comments or questions?
One, I think probably directed better towards Mario. Was there, I didn't read through anything where it's called it out, nothing in specs or anything for time that they would be changing messages. I know that's been an issue in the past. They're willing to comply with that. And
Correct. So moving forward, all the recent signs now, we similar to our other uses, we have a electronic sign use statement that just reiterates what's within the zoning ordinance standards. And for example, they're allowed no more than faster than 8-second display, I believe is what the standard is. But it will be the property owner, I mean, the business owner, property owner will be signing a use statement, just confirms it'll be operating in compliance with that. So no flashes, no moving video, but it's basically a slideshow. And so the messages they'd like to display, you know, they can be full color, but they won't be video. They'll be, then they will be moved. There won't be any kind of star wipes or
Just a
nothing like that.
static message.
Static message that changes at a approved interval.
okay, and then the last thing that I brought to the table is, if I read the prints right, maximum, we're at 6 foot for the sign. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Building crests that I'm gonna assume 24, 26 feet, just looking at pictures and driving by. So we're not gonna have anything going back into the neighborhood, no worries about light pollution, stuff like that, like on the gas station over here. So everything's gonna be confined. It looks like it's in a nice courtyard. Everything's gonna protrude towards the street and not back into the neighborhood.
Right.
Yes, that's correct.
I live right around the corner from you guys, like Garden and Leona, so like 5 houses over. So I go by your place all the time, and your lights are fine right now, and your sign's fine and everything. So I don't see any difference, you know, except it's gonna be nicer, because your old sign is all old plastic with the lights behind it and everything.
It's dated.
Yeah, it's pretty well dated. Are you gonna keep it at the same position as is? Because it's 3.5 feet from the sidewalk back to the edge?
That's what we're hoping for, and that's what we're asking for.
Okay, I mean, it's fine, but I was just curious. Because it's gonna be larger, so.
Right.
Okay, yeah, I would go there all the time, 24/7. No issue.
Does anybody else have any comments or questions? Okay, well, I think this is substantially an acceptable idea. We've allowed this type of sign at other churches, as you've said, and I don't think it substantially impairs the intent of the chapter by allowing this. You're in a corridor of mixed use where you have some residential, but also businesses with various type of signs. I think granting the variance would provide you and others with substantial justice because of the fact that others have already been allowed to use this type of sign, and along the Cherry Hill corridor, it's in use already. So in that respect, I think it's proper. So I would be in favor of allowing, yes.
That's right, I'm just interrupting, sorry about that.
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna make a motion.
Okay, along with your motion, we need to specify the grounds for allowing the variance. So, the last couple of items in the report, I think, list some of the grounds that would be appropriate, and substantial justice to the applicant would be one, in my opinion. If you would include that information in your motion. Well, the three items, 5, 6, and 7, are basically the three where it points to why this could be allowed. And the fact that it does not substantially impair the intent of the subchapter. So maybe if you go ahead and make your motion, and then we'll see if we can add in the grounds for the decision.
I'll throw it out there, you can just stop me at any time you feel like it.
Okay.
Okay, well, I'll make a motion for a sign variance in section 154-610. Make a motion for an existing sign from 24 square foot manual changeable message sign to a 48 square foot electrical changeable sign at 28680 Cherry Hill Road, partial 35-014-03-0029-300, and so that'd be approved.
Okay, and then if we can say that it does not substantially impair the intent of the subchapter, and that it will provide substantial justice to the applicant. Pardon me?
Should we put anything about falling within standards outside of R1?
Well, that's already stated in the proposal. You can, yeah.
Just making sure.
Okay. Is there support?
I'll support.
I second.
Sorry,
We have support. Any comments on the motion? Take the roll, please.
Commissioner Price?
Hey.
Commissioner Martin?
Yes.
Commissioner Bullock?
Yes.
Commissioner Smith?
Yes.
Commissioner Hickman?
Yes.
Commissioner Richard? Aye. Chairperson May?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Motion's passed. So good luck with your sign. I hope it provides you with what you need. Okay, thank you.
Very happy, and we look forward to continuing to be good neighbors here in Garden City. Thank you.
Good luck.
Best wishes, guys.
Have a good night.
Take care. Hopefully I call. Fred, thank you for throwing that in. Nice work.
The team effort.
Always be out of the water.
Yes, so we can issue the permit.
Okay, next item is other business. Jake, do we have any other business?
None to report from me, Mario.
Mario?
No, there's no other requests at this time for variances, so nothing on the horizon.
Okay.
Can I add one thing?
Yes.
I'd like to thank our communications department for these beautiful mics that we can not turn off. It was a great gesture, and it sounds like we're being heard loud and clear.
Yeah, I like
Yeah.
those chairs. These chairs are awesome. Taking in one home, so you're gonna be one short.
Talk to the judge, don't
Don't
talk to
like
me.
them too much. That's part of a millage that I'm sure we're gonna get hit within the next 10 years.
Okay, the next regular zoning board of appeals meeting would be Wednesday, October 23rd, if necessary. So I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion that we shall adjourn until.
I second.
Motion made and seconded. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. Meeting is adjourned.
That's crazy.